Hello, how you doing? So, the good old criminal justice system, friend of all, enemy of none, right? Enemy of evil, friend of the good and the just, and this kind of stuff. So, I came here to get my fingerprints done, rather to make sure that my DNA is on file. My name's Hussein Zaidi. I appreciate you tuning in. I've realized that nobody watches these things, or whether or not someone watches a specific video it's almost inconsequential, and it's nothing certainly that I can control. So anyway, I was recently released from jail, and this is kind of like a video journal of sorts, the usual. I've been doing this kind of stuff for years. Most of these videos get like 7 views, but then I do have like several videos on old YouTube channels that I encourage you to check out that have thousands of views. And this is great in my world. Do I want to be a famous YouTuber one day and make the big bazookas? Why the hell not? At least you want to give it a shot. So it's a beautiful building, this new Court of Justice, the Armory Street Court of Justice. And the purpose of this talk is kind of like to, if anyone's interested, like most people are not interested in these kinds of questions, just like most people are not interested in any kinds of questions apart from what's for lunch and how much money is this other guy making, right? So the question of the goddamn criminal justice system, and I refer you to Jean-Jacques Rousseau in this foundational book called The Social Contract. You could probably look at it's like an 80-page book, right? And it's like this guy wrote in like the 1600s or some crap. I actually, through the grace of God, ran into a copy of this during my 18 months, thanks to the criminal justice system in the bowels of the Toronto South Detention Center. Jean-Jacques Rousseau, The Social Contract. Like as usual with philosophy books, I couldn't make head or tails of it. It's not that it's a complicated text at all. It's actually very simple. And like the guy basically, this book, which became a defining text of law and order and economic policy and social mores and everything to do with Western civilization and the law, boils down to this book, The Social Contract. And whatever, dude, like I didn't get anything from it, so I gotta go visit some YouTube channels, and then it's definitely worth going to YouTube and then saying, like Gary Vaynerchuk, my man, has taught us, you hit the microphone on YouTube and you say, YouTube, what is an NFT? YouTube, why is the social contract important? YouTube, is the social contract relevant in Toronto? This kind of nonsense. Then there's another foundational book, I want to tell you, I do believe and consider myself to be a good guy. This is like the preamble, like that's a necessary kind of assumption. I'm not standing here saying things like, yo, fuck the police, yo, they done charging me with stupid shit I never did, yo, motherfucking manslaughter. Like I read about this lady today, like one of these girls, like here in Toronto there's this famous case of there was this homeless guy with mental health issues on the sidewalk, and a bunch of teenage witches basically killed this guy. There was like 7 or 8 of them, and they were ranged in age from like 12 to like 14 or some nonsense like this, and they basically kicked him and punched him and stabbed him to death. And like I spent 18 months in jail for setting a jacket on fire. I'm still in trauma over this, and the more I think about it, the more I realize, that's why I'm making this video. So another foundational text. So yeah, like one of these girls literally got 18 months of probation because a pre-sentence, like she was mistreated. They strip searched her a bunch of times, right? And they left her skin on, of course, but they strip searched her, and then she gets 18 months of probation. I have 3 years of probation. I have cannabis use disorder, right? Cannabis use disorder, law and disorder. So I shouldn't smoke weed. I don't smoke weed. I don't know why I spent 12, 15 years destroying my life and alienating all my loved ones, and just acting like a vile beast. Like basically like this line from like The Island of Dr. Moreau, where like you unleash your beast. This is what happens. Like, weed is not good for everyone, and Canada's legalized weed, and they shouldn't have done this, because it does actually affect some people's mental health in a profound way. Like, it creates a psychotic reaction. In any case, I'm going around in circles. I tend to do this. It's been 5 minutes. My whole point with this video, I might as well just say, the problem with the criminal justice system, this whole fucking thing, it's a beautiful thing unless you get crushed by it. And when you, like, if you're a criminal, like, this is the whole thing, the 80-20 Pareto principle. There are 20% of guys out there, and the funny thing is, they don't give a shit. Like, guys who do crime and big crime and big time, they really don't care. Like, they say, well, listen, being inside a jail or outside a jail is the same thing. Or the guy will say to me, like, there was a guy, you won't believe this. You meet all kinds of people, you won't believe this. Google this story, and I can promise you it's out there. It seems impossible. I never saw this in the news. This guy takes 100, like a guy I met in the back of a court van. He takes 100 grand. I was asking him so many questions, he thought I was a narc. He was like feeling me for a wire. And he was like, who the fuck is this guy? And I just told him, man, like, your story is incredible. And I just kept asking him questions. This guy took 100 grand into an exotic sports car dealership. Gets to know the, like cash, gets to know the owner, sits in the guy's office, looks at a Lambo, this kind of thing. They got like Ferraris up on like platforms. So the guy befriends this man, the owner befriends this guy on account of his cash. And unbeknownst to him, the guy is casing this place. He basically is intending to break into this place. And this is his purpose in life. Like, he said to me at one point, jail is baby food. Like, it means less than nothing to him. I'm like, are you joking right now? What do you mean by baby food? And then it was like, I'm asking too many questions. He went back like 2 to 3 months later or whatever at night, and then basically you have 4 minutes and there will be no response with the alarms. 4 minutes. So you can smash into a place and the alarms will be going off for 4 minutes before like cops are called. He had one guy on one major intersection, and then across town another guy on another major. This was like a semi-organized heist. I did not dare ask this guy if he's a connected guy or like if he works alone. I was already asking too many questions. Yo, they were monitoring like the police radios, and Buddy's like, yeah, you're clear, you're good, you're clear. You won't believe. So when he was befriending like the owner, when he was in this guy's office, the guy showed him where the keys to these cars were. Things like this. They went back there with a sledgehammer and smashed the key box. This is how stupid it was and simple, and like how unsecured. They took the keys. You won't believe it. I still don't believe it. I guess I should Google it myself. They made off with like 7 exotic sports cars, like 5 Lambos and 2 Ferraris or some nonsense like this. It sounds like it sounds made up. So go ahead and Google it. Just Google it. They drove one Ferrari through the glass plate window. It was like Gone in 60 Seconds, but not just one car. There was like 7, and they made it. They got away. The cops didn't catch these guys. The guy got ratted out as the usual, right? And so I said to him, like, so he sold each of these cars for like, he made 500 grand. He sold each of these cars for like 100 grand. This kind of thing. And it's like, this is what people do. Now, what you don't understand, and what I've begun to understand, and what you may get, is there are some people that like doing crime, and that's their thing. This is what they do. They say that the life chooses you and you don't choose the life, right? And so there are some people that like doing crime and they don't even mind being in jail. And if you are part of the mafia and you're a mafiosi back in like the 80s and the 60s and whatever, the 50s and the heydays, I dare say, when the five families basically were more powerful and rich than like the top 10 publicly traded, like they ran the fucking country. People still don't understand this thing. They ran the fucking country. Like, people are worried about or questioning whether or not like the JFK like assassination was a mob hit. Jack Ruby was like basically more or less a mafiosi. He wasn't a made man. He didn't have a button. He carried his goddamn money in a rolled up bills, and he was a mob associate. He was a wannabe, whatever. Not every wannabe really wants to be, right? If you know what I mean. Whatever. So like, I researched this thing again. Okay, so for the longest time, the reason that I was convinced, I know this is a side note of a side note, I got half an hour. I went here to get my fingerprints done, and they said you have half an hour, this and that. And the more I talk about this stupid thing, this criminal justice system, it just pisses you off, right? So, getting notifications. So what it is you don't have a voice. This is the problem. Like, so there's 20% of criminals out there. No matter what you do, they will not be reformed. And even low-level guys that do break and enters, or they do drugs or sell drugs, or they boost and they do drugs, and there's just some people that just don't give a shit about morality and law and order. And they don't even mind being in jail. Like a strung out guy who does drugs, and he basically he steals in order to fund his drug habit or whatever, right? And you can like literally make hundreds of dollars in one store visit. Why would you worry about ID and a resume and a job and like appeasing like a boss that like looks down at you and patronizes all these things? Why would you do that for a $100 a day minimum wage job when you can just walk into like a Staples or whatever? Like, if you know what you're doing, you can make like $1,000 in a day just like doing stupid shit. Hell, you can just panhandle and make a couple of $100 a day if you know what you're doing. Like, there's guys that panhandle and ladies, and they just have this approach. Like, here's the classic one. The classic one is that you actually offer the person money. You say, hey, I have this money, can I give this to you? And you give me $5 or something because I need $5 for a meal or some bullshit like this. Like, don't ask for a bus ride or whatever, because everyone wants a bus ride, and this is like not really realistic, or maybe it is, I don't know. Anyway, it works. So now, criminal justice system. I wanted to talk about the in my mind, the root failing of this stupid thing. So again, I feel like I'm a good guy. I went to jail for 18 months for setting a jacket on fire. Like this hoodie I'm wearing. If I took this hoodie and I put it on the ground here and I set it on fire, this may or may not be construed arson. My lawyer and I went over the law. My lawyer advised that I don't take this to trial. Like, I pleaded out. Like, basically, like on paper, like my sentence was like 2.5 years, right? So I was smoking weed, I have cannabis use disorder, I'm diagnosed bipolar, I was arguing with mi esposita colombiana hermosa y mi vida, por supuesto. My wife and I were arguing. I was at her place. She was being loving and supportive and encouraging, the usual. I was manic. I was smoking weed. I was basically out of it. Like, you cannot expect a rational response or rational imperatives like from a person who basically is having a mental health crisis. I want to talk more about mental health and addiction and these kinds of things in these videos. I appreciate you tuning in if you're watching this. It's almost 15 minutes. All I wanted to say really is, 20% of people that do, like, they're hardcore criminals, you cannot reform them. And I guess for what it's worth, the system is fine for them. But what I'm talking about is the 80% or the 60%, maybe there's a 20% at the bottom end that have severe social or mental health issues. And those people are going to be medicated their whole lives, and they have serious issues. And if you leave them alone unattended, then unfortunately, then they end up getting into trouble. But there's a huge chunk of 40 to 60% of people that are basically caught up in this pendejo de su madre criminal justice system, who are regular, normal guys. Like this guy over here with his coffee, if he got into an argument with he just started dating some girl off of Live Links or Grapevine or some crap, like these phone dating lines. Let's just say, like, people don't realize they are only one bad person or incident or phone call away from going to jail for weeks, if not months. This guy finds some dude or lady on like a dating site, starts dating this person, doesn't realize that this person is a closet like psycho or some crap, or like they're like some kind of monster, or there's something wrong with them. Anyway, like after a month or two of dating, they get into an argument, and literally I've met like countless people, like 10, 20 people. You'll be like, oh, half these guys are lying, whatever. Like you can tell after a while who's making shit up and who's not. Like a good sign, by the way, like my elder brother told me about this. If you look to the left, you're remembering, and if you look to the right, you're imagining. Like seriously, this is like CIA level training. So if you're talking to someone and you ask them a question and they look to the right, that means they're imagining. If you're talking and you ask someone a question and they look to the left, that means they're telling the truth. They are remembering. Anyway, at least 20, 30 guys, if not more. Like, certainly more if you just add in, like, this was just an additional charge. But at least 20, 30 guys who basically were in jail because some lady decided to call and make up a story. Like, the guy basically, I can tell, is a nice guy, is a non-violent guy, is not a rape hound, is not a violent guy, is not some kind of sexual pervert. He's just a normal guy. And of course, like, emotions get head up in the throes of a relationship and young love, or whatever the hell it is, old love, right? So now it's so easy for a girl to call, and I'm not saying that the law should be any different, because there are plenty of women, of course, that get taken advantage of and who get abused, and Canada sides on the side of the women, and I suppose that's the way it should be. Women and children first, and seniors, because they're the most vulnerable, right? So what about, though, like the case where women call and make stuff up, or they call and then they say, shit, I'm sorry, I like whatever, I don't want to press charge, whatever. Like, what I'm trying to say is, like, that's just one instance, and there's plenty of instances where there's arguments or different things that are said, and then someone calls and says they just make stuff up. I've been to jail. Most of the times that I've been to jail have been for things that I'm not guilty of. This is what I'm trying to get to. Like, for a person like myself, who basically, I have substance use disorder, like cannabis use disorder. I smoke weed, I start acting crazy, I start fighting people and shouting and getting in trouble, right? And it's like, I should not smoke weed, I know. But like, sending a person to jail for 18 months. So if I took this hoodie off again and I put it on the floor here and set it on fire, the law says that this should be reckless endangerment to be considered arson. Now, if it's outdoors here, I'd probably get charged with mischief or some shit like this. And through the grace of God and my amazing lawyer, Thomas Combs, I was able to get the arson charge reduced to mischief / endangering life. And it's still total shit. Like, whatever. Like, I'm a ex-security guard, right? I worked as a security guard for 7 years while building out my digital marketing / consulting / internet marketing practice. Call it what you will. Anything that pays the bills. Ha ha ha. So now, I wasn't so I was arguing with my wife. I went into the hallway of, like, I went outside her apartment, and she tossed my jacket into the hallway and shut the door. And I was outside, and I'd already started, like, couple of times, like once I'd smoked a cigarette out there just to piss her off, or just because I was pissed off or manic or whatever, right? I'm not a psycho or dangerous or anything like this when I'm manic. I'm a fucking dick. Like, I fight people and I become super aggressive. I may have sent 1 or 2 people to hospital, hello, but they had it coming, right? Whatever. Anyway, so I'm here to make sure my DNA is on file because I'm a violent offender. What kind of violence? In Canada, you do not need to touch someone in order to be charged with assault. I remember a line from my business law class in the States, where like we learned that assault is touching someone or causing something to touch them against their will, right? So in Canada, you do not need to touch someone in order to be charged with assault. If you go up to any person and start shouting, just shouting at them, and they quote unquote feel threatened, then you are assaulting them, essentially. So I am here to give my DNA, or it's already on file, like they just got to make sure and cross the T's and dot the I's. Right, so I'm here to make sure my DNA is on file with the Ontario government, as that were. Right, like, let me just mention quickly Jean-Jacques Rousseau and the social contract. And then you've got this other seminal political text called The Leviathan. The Leviathan by Thomas Hobbes. Thomas Hobbes, who is famous for saying that on the whole, life is, for most people, is short, nasty, and brutish. It always amuses me when there's philosophers of such stature. And of course, I hero worship this guy, even though the Leviathan I may have just read, like gotten into like 20 minutes on YouTube, like the audiobook. It's very cool. The Leviathan is this mythical beast whose mention occurs in the Bible. And you might as well ask a Christian, what is this Leviathan? Like, it's some kind of sea monster that lives in the oceans. And Thomas Hobbes, the philosopher, along with Jean-Jacques Rousseau, like, these guys are the two guys with regards to Western social, legal, and political systems, more or less, right? Whatever, for what that's worth. It's not like I'm an expert on these things by any means. So I just want to throw that out there. So now, the problem with the criminal justice system is you do not have a voice, right? So one time, like, I'm here to make sure my DNA is on file. For what? For something as stupid as I waved my fork threateningly at a roommate. This is assault with a weapon. Like, one time I went into a convenience store and I was manic and I was acting like a dick, and in any case, like, karma is karma, and وَمَا أَصَابَكُم مِّن مُّصِيبَةٍ إِلَّا بِمَا كَسَبَتْ أَيْدِيكُم. The Holy Quran says that whatever problems you face are because of what your own two hands have done. So you eat it, right? You eat it. You eat what life gives you, the good and the bad. So I refer you to another seminal book with regards to the criminal justice system and incarceration. And this would be, you can check all these out on YouTube. Like, again, I urge you, children of the concubus, I urge you to go to YouTube and just, like Gary Vee does, you click it and then you say, yo, I don't use AI at all. I'm kind of proud that I tried using ChatGPT once and it errored out. And that's it. That's enough. I mean, do you use YouTube properly? Are you a programmer? Like, is there like some automation that can be done with regards to your life that AI would be good for? If it's just entertainment, I understand that. But in any case, there's some of us, that have work to do. Guys, you don't have a voice, right? So one time I went into a convenience store. I was acting manic. I wanted to buy a charger or get a charge or something like this. And the guy was rude or dismissive, or he told me to fuck off, basically. Sorry for the F-bomb. I promised my family I would try to abstain from swearing and say F off instead of the F-bomb. Right? Because children are children after all. And I do have underage nieces or some nonsense like this who I've never gotten to know or get in touch with, just because I'm that guy, right? I'm that guy that you basically want to keep your kids away from. Probably for the sole reason that all I would be telling them day and night is that all they need is the internet. You don't need a job, you don't need a husband or a wife, you don't need a business, you don't need a publisher, you don't need any goddamn thing. All you need is the internet. Anything you want done, you can at least find a person that will do it online. Anything. If you want, let's say you want to build an app, but you don't know what kind of app, you can go to Fiverr.com, which is the starting point for more or less everything digital marketing and a whole bunch more. Fiverr with 2 R's. Frank, India, Victory, Echo, Radio.com. Fiverr, like a $5 gig. This is the inception of that business model, and now they're doing like gazillions of dollars a year. They're based out of Israel. It's an amazing platform. So, for example, if you want to be a digital marketer and you want to build websites for people, you can go to Fiverr.com and find people to build you those websites. And basically, you can start for free. Just message like the top 50 website guys within your cost or like your budget or like your criteria of affordability or what have you. They're no longer $5 gigs. You can pay hundreds or even thousands, I guess, for like a gig off Fiverr. But you can find good people there, right? I mean, you have to look, and like with everything else, you have to measure twice and cut once when you're dealing with people. Don't just take someone's word for it. Like, so let's say if you wanted to start digital marketing and you want to build people websites, just go to all of your relatives. Like, you must have some relative that owns a business whose website is kind of crap. You go there and you say, please let me build you an amazing website, and I'll only charge you $1,000, and the guy in Fiverr will charge you $500 or $300 or different things. And as you get better at it, like whatever, right? Like paying $5,000 or $10,000 for a high-end website is nothing. Like, obviously Fortune 500s have websites that like consume millions of dollars in just maintenance. Anyway, I'm coming up on the half-hour mark. Here's my problem with the criminal justice system. The criminal justice system deprives the main player. Like, I would be I'm a client service fanatic. I sold software to and for Fortune 500 companies for 10 years plus. My first job here in Canada was customer service at a convenience store. Just the very same kind of convenience store I was mentioning, where I went in, was asking for a charger. The guy told me to F off, and in a spate of misplaced manic rage, I pushed his ATM print, like the thing that prints receipts, like whatever, this little receipt printer. I pushed it onto the floor, and the guy lost it. The guy came after me, like I left at that point. He came out of the shop and we slugged it out. We slugged it out, and they called the cops, and I went to jail. I mean, it was pretty serious, right? So while I was fighting this guy outside, like, they were calling the cops inside or something like this. Whatever. Like, and the problem is this. The problem is I got charged with assault with a weapon. Why? Because the guy told the cops, like, people make total bullshit stories up. I don't know if BS counts as a swear word, but just to err on the side of caution. Anyway, the guy said there was a water bottle on the desk or the counter, and I picked it up and I threw it at him. And I got charged with assault with a weapon. You get sent to jail based on phone calls, allegations, police statement, and the so-called package that becomes what's called the disclosure. And you can ostensibly, if you have a record or issues or mental health issues or some kinds of issues, or you're just one of those guys who never learns, whatever, due process goes out the window. You can literally, if some girl calls and makes up a story and says that you raped her or something, or sexually abused her in some shape or form, you can go to jail, guys, for months, and they won't let you out, just in case she's telling the truth. And just in case you are a threat to her, right? So anyway, we're coming up in the half-hour mark. You basically get sent to jail for months, and then you plead guilty to stuff you never done. And if you try to talk at any point, everyone tells you to F off and shut up. That's the problem with this goddamn criminal justice system. So you become bitter and you become criminalized. Thanks for tuning in. I'd appreciate your comments.